Hi.
Welcome
Welcome
to
to
Battlefield Bash.
Realm of Darkness.
My name is Ashley.
And I'm Thomas.
I just had a flashback. I didn't know what had just happened, ladies and gentlemen.
Then I would assume, and it's hot. I can't imagine going up that hill for the life of me. What do you think? I probably would have died. Yeah.
It's an awesome event. It's just everybody's so cool. There's so much to see. So many good people. I mean, it's a one. This is my third year in a row.
So whatever it is that you've struggled with in your life, no matter what it is that you've been done wrong, the goal is to use that stuff to give hope to other people who've gone through the same thing that you have. If you don't do that, you've made the horrible choice to suffer for nothing. That's a mic drop.
It's our 10th anniversary. We've been doing ghost tours for the last 10 years. We take you on about a 4.5, 5-hour tour throughout the Chicagoland area. You get to use cool things like this called the Anahata Spirit Portal Box. It's really simple, but I explain to people it's spirit boxes. Anybody can buy a spirit box, but it's your team. It's the team that goes and builds a lot of it together. And when you start putting a little bit of yourself into these things, then you get really cool discoveries that happen.
You know, the common thing that was going on is pretty much everything on your bigger networks have been canceled, and you're seeing reruns now. So,
yes, yeah, unfortunately.
Beacon TV was our answer to be able to reach out to a lot of the people that everybody loved, and maybe some people that you've never met before, and then really just, try and put that content back out there, get that train back moving. So.
Giving away. They are. They're stealing babies, and then they're leaving them on the meals.
Are they just walking by and taking them?
You can make a lot of Ladies and gentlemen, analology. You too can read the folds of the anus. It is a real book.
Nobody better ask me to read their butthole. I'm just telling you.
Okay, seriously, how are you guys?
Well, that was an adventure.
Yeah, Gettysburg was something, man.
Yeah, I love that the end of that video was my dear friend Brandon and reading certain body parts, which is hilarious because tonight we have a really special guest on, and she is one of my dear friends. She's my mentor. She is somebody that I've looked up to. And I did not tell her about the book that I was given. And that's going to be interesting. But, I just want to bring her in and just jump right into it because she's so amazing and she's insightful. And let's welcome DeEtte. Bring her in.
Hi, everybody. Buttholes, huh?
With all the stuff that you have taught me and gone through with me,
I didn't teach you that.
No. So Brandon Cooper, if you don't know him, he is a friend of mine, and he found, where is it? He found this book on Amazon. Okay. And it talks about how to read the folds of an anus.
Okay.
As you would read somebody's poem. So the entire bash, he went around telling everybody about this book he was giving me. He got everyone to sign it. And then told me we had to go live because he had a gift for me, and this was it. And now I keep getting random messages from people from Gettysburg saying, am I your first client? When are we going to do this? How much are you charging? I'm like, whoa.
I feel like this is a great business opportunity.
Nope.
You could corner the market here.
Yeah, I mean, you could charge whatever you want. There's no precedent for it.
Teresa.
You know what? I think I will let one of the professionals handle that area. But anyway, DeEtte, how have you been? It's been so long.
Fabulous. I've been fabulous, doing really well. How about yourself?
Good. I have been talking about you nonstop since Realm of Darkness, the Dark Travel Chronicles started. We're out kind of filming season 1. And when it came to abilities and stuff like that, I never really showed anyone. I just kind of, you were the first one that really was like, let's do this, let's work on this. And these two, you'd be so proud. They pushed me so hard. And even when I'm like, I have this feeling, but don't want to say it. They're like, no, tell me on film what you're feeling. They give me notebooks and I'm like, oh. So
there's no cop-outs in this season.
So I talk about you all the time.
There should never be a cop-out. No, just do it.
Yeah. It's been going pretty well. But for anybody who doesn't know, so DeEtte is an incredible psychic medium. She is a spiritual teacher, and she has a radio station, or she has a show on Mondays, and she does all these incredible things. And I got the honor of taking some of her courses with her. And I am telling you, DeEtte, you have to talk about the classes, because I feel like just the amount of time we spent together, it just blew my world open.
I love that. I love that, because that's the only reason I teach. It really is because I get to see that. I get to see people just shift, and it's amazing. My classes are really kind of simple. Like beginners, you're not going to get a whole lot of hoopla out of beginners, and the reason why is because we're starting to what I call retrain the brain to think and to see and to feel. We're getting you to use your brain to where we're supposed to. I always say, I'm not trying to throw moms or dads under the bus, but we don't necessarily tell our kids, shut up, listen, and then this is how we listen. We just expect them that they have ears who are going to listen. So I'm helping people to literally use their senses, their 2D senses. When I can get you to do that, intermediate's really easy because we just kind of go over a lot more things. I start to give you a lot of, pictures to read, a lot of exercises, and people just naturally start using their psychic senses because everybody has them, and everybody looks at me going, I don't have this, I can't do this. And I'm like, let's give it a few, let's give it a few weeks, just keep trying. And just like you, I mean, it was like, come on, Ashley, you got this. And then all of a sudden one day you just showed up and you just a page of stuff. It was all correct. And I'm like, and here we are, and I watch people, change their lives, which is just, it's incredible. It's one of my biggest joys, honestly, is just taking people all the way through that certification and go, here you go. Now here's your thing that somebody says you've been testing, you can do this, so.
Well, and one of the things I will never forget is some of the little exercises that you had us do. It's things that you can do just in your normal life, the washing of the hands.
Yeah.
Even when I get irritated and upset at work, I'm like, oh, wash my hands. And it works. And I swear, and something that simple, I still use almost every single day. And then the ego, when you talk about, one of the big things is letting your ego go, good, bad, or in between. And I catch myself being like, okay, just let it go. You got this. So it's things that you can use
every day,
everyday life.
Every day. I have students that have only gone through beginners or maybe intermediate, and they had major anxiety issues. And they're like, I do what you taught me and my anxiety is gone. I no longer have an anxiety issue. Or I can go into crowds and I have absolutely no issues anymore. They're like, I'm entering my life again. And to me, that's the biggest thing that you've got, is to say, hey, we really kind of just got your senses under control. And now your life itself is blowing up. It changes. And that's the coolest thing about classes is people, their lives just change. Not everybody's going to go and be a psychic medium. Not everybody's going to sit there and, do readings or go and do paranormal investigations. Some people, they just do it just so they can deal with their own life because their senses are too much and they don't have control of them.
Yeah. So, how did you find out, or how did you realize that you had these incredible abilities?
Well, I'm actually writing a book. Don't tell anybody. Yeah, I'm writing the book.
I think you just told a lot of people, though.
Yeah, I think I just did. Now everybody's going to have this expectation. Well, and the reason I'm doing it is because, you can get, and I'm sure you guys have had mediums on here before, and you ask them that question. Oh, I've been seeing dead people since I was born. That just seems to be, that's what you hear, so
It's
often.
the cliche, yeah.
It's the cliche. And I'm like, no, I could feel something. I was terrified of the dark. My senses were going, I had no clue that's what it was. I mean, literally, I went through life knowing things and seeing things and feeling things and clueless, on everything. It wasn't until I literally was a nurse for 21 years, and I quit and I moved up north Wisconsin for a few years, and I got this job at the original Famous Dave's that's since burnt down. And when I started working there, I thought I was, had my stuff together. And by the time it burned down, I was a raving lunatic, because you take somebody that has no clue what's going on with their senses, they have no clue this is who they are, and you just piled tons of energy around them, and a haunted place, and all this going on. I had absolutely no control of myself anymore. So when the restaurant burned down, it was a twofold. One, I wanted to cry because it was a family, but two, it really probably saved my life because it put me into classes. I mean, I had nothing to do. It was wintertime, and I'm in Hayward, and it's a tourist town, and there's not going to be a job. So I jumped on classes, and went, okay, I don't, I was just like you. I'm doing this class, have no clue, except for we didn't have Zoom. We did it on Facebook, like voice back then, and we'd be taking turns doing readings, and it'd be my turn, and I'd be like, and all of a sudden my mouth would just start talking, and I already talk fast, but I would just go like rocket ship, no clue where it came from, and the person be going like, holy crap, you have my mom and everything about her, and I'm like, I don't, I was clueless. So, and it was just, I kept taking classes and kept taking classes until finally somebody said, you're certified. And I went, oh, really? You mean I can do this stuff? So, but it wasn't until I got certified that I actually had any kind of confidence.
Well, and I think that's it exactly. I think there are people out there, because I know I was one of them, that I thought I was crazy. I thought, okay, maybe I have schizophrenia, maybe I have this, maybe I have that. And even up until working with you, like, you were the first one to really be like, okay, slow down, listen, tell me what you're seeing, feeling, and made it make sense.
Right.
So I know people try to do it on their own, but classes, I mean, it changed it for me, and it made it not so scary. I think too, it kind of explains, like, not everything's dark. Not everything, scratches don't always mean that they're trying to be mean. They're just trying to get your attention. And I think the way that you explained it to me made me less nervous and less scared to go there. When previously it's like, okay, I don't want to let myself go there because you hear demons and this and that. And, it's always in your head, like, what could happen? But you changed my perspective on all that.
You all three of you are paranormal investigators. Have you found the demon yet?
No.
You know what I mean? Well, I say there's entities. You know what? I think there's some entities. Have I seen a demon? No. Have I seen the dark? No. Have I seen some really upset grandpas that have been around for 200 years? Yeah. But I always tell people in this world, like, you got metaphysical, which is the airy fairy world, psychic mediumship, blah, blah, blah. And then you got the other side, which is more paranormal, per se, the darker side. Which isn't dark, but I always say, if you're going to talk to somebody's grandma, say you hire me and like, I want to talk to grandma, she ain't going to hurt me. She does not want to hurt me. She's crossed over. She's all about love. She just wants to bring on all this amazing stuff with you. But if I go into a haunted house with somebody that hasn't crossed over, you know what? I might want to watch my backside because they might want to hurt me. And it's basically just know your surroundings and then know what to do if you get yourself in trouble.
Now, have you, with your abilities, have you had more of like a negative entity come towards you, just because, you know, they always say somebody with great abilities is like a beacon.
Well, y'all living people are my beacon. And I don't mean that in a negative way. It's funny because, you know, I do paranormal, but not like you guys. I'm not all. I want to be in my bed by 8:39. You know what I mean? I don't want to be up at midnight. I don't want to be doing all this crazy stuff. I realize dead people are very much willing to talk to me at noon, and I get bored. I get bored really easy. So y'all can sit there and you know, hang out for hours and look at a wall. I can't do that. I mean, I'm not ADHD, but I am menopausal, and that's just too much for me. You know, so, this is my version of paranormal investigation. And I have done, you know, I've done probably 10, 15 investigations. So I'm still very much a beginner. But what happens, people call me, say, y'all are out someplace, right? And you guys get yourself in a tangle and you go, can I swear? Okay, I swear, I apologize. You go, oh shit, what the hell did we just do to our damn selves? Call DeEtte. Because that's what people call DeEtte.
I think I've done that.
Yeah. And they go, oh my God, DeEtte. And I'm like, hold on, where you, you know, just give me the facility. And I go, okay, I'm not sure who y'all have with you. You know, like Larry Eisler just did this to me not that long ago. For anybody listening, my BFF, everybody knows me as that. And they were at a location, and I didn't know everybody that was there, you know. And he gets a hold of me. He's like, "Yeah, we don't know what's going on." I'm like, "Hold on, wait a second. This has happened to this person. This is." I mean, I read each person that, you know, I didn't know what they wrote individually and how all their personalities had changed. And then I went, "Okay, this is what you have here, and it's not very friendly, and I think it's just showing up, and you know, and how to deal with that." Now, like with them, get your butts out of the building. Y'all the ground. I need y'all to calm down. I need y'all to close your occipitals. You know, like really do just a little cross, say you're closing it, whatever, and then go back. You know, so a lot of people in the paranormal world will call me and say, "Help me get through this." I also work for the Warren Legacy Society, which is, you know, Ed and Lorraine Warren, built by Joe Frankie. I'm trying to think of his name. A dear friend of mine. And I always say I work for Joe. And it's because he calls me to remote view into places. So again, it's my way of doing paranormal, you know, is to remote view in and say, this is what you have, you know, from what I can see. So have I seen the dark thing? I have. Never had anybody called me from a haunted place. Have I ever went, I see an entity? Because I don't know about you guys. Do you really think a demon who wants to play havoc on, you know, people are going to go to the place that's abandoned? I mean, come on. Common sense says the demon is not going to the haunted building. I mean, there's no there, you know. They're going to go to, if there's a such thing as a demon, they're going to go to a resident where they can feed off of something, you know, so they can have oppression going on. You know, and I once, maybe twice in the whole time I've worked for Joe, which has been like 3 years now or something like that, 3 or 4 years, have I said, you know what, Joe, I can't say this is Grandpa, because I'm really feeling something really kind of feeding off of somebody. They're really oppressing them. They're really doing this, you know. I've had the opportunity to look into some of the old Warren, you know, cases that were pre-Joe, and that person that's been possessed by something, you know, and what is the havoc from it. So I have the privilege to see a lot of those things, but again, it's been remote view. I haven't gone in and said, "Hey, here we go." So, yeah.
Now, with some of those Ed and Lorraine cases, when you were looking at them, did you ever like have a feeling that maybe some of these people could have been faking, not like Ed and Lorraine, but like the people that were claiming it? Or
not
like
the ones I was asked to look at.
Really?
And I can say that, oh yeah, because it, you know, and it's not like they're re-looking at cases, because they're not, you know, I mean, the things are done, they've gone on. I don't want you to think they've like opened up things, because it's not that at all. It's more of a, sometimes there's a curiosity, like, is something still going on? You know, has it moved? Has it finally like dissipated? You know, that curiosity. So the ones that I've seen, you know, it was very legitimate. You know, I can honestly tell you that the ones I've seen, Ed and Lorraine, are definitely the real deals. These are not to people that, and I know there's people out there bashing, saying they're fake or not. No, God, no. What I've seen and what I've seen that they dealt with it's terrifying. And to be on the forefront of that, I couldn't imagine it.
Well, and that's why I wonder, because Ed and Lorraine were so popular and so kind of sought after, were there people who kind of made up their symptoms, or not so much like Ed and Lorraine being fake, but like the people portraying it, just trying to get in the door with Ed and Lorraine?
I think you would see that in this day and age if Ed and Lorraine were still alive and still going. Back then, no. I can't imagine that. I mean, it was already such a taboo thing. Like I tell people that get really upset with like some of the what they call the YouTubers and this and that, like, oh my God, they're going. I'm like, but listen, those YouTubers are making it normal so that, people like you and me, if we have issues, we call people like, Joe, because we're going, this is happening. I don't know what this is. I'm going to call somebody to help me with this. Back when Ed and Lorraine were doing this, that was a taboo. People were terrified. So unless you really had major stuff going on, you weren't telling your neighbors because you didn't want people to think you were crazy or lock you up, because that's what would happen back then. You weren't making something up. So, and Ed and Lorraine were really good at, going in and interviewing and seeing what was going on. And so even if somebody was trying to fake it, I'm pretty sure, Lorraine was psychic. Yeah. She was psychic. She was going to see them coming from a mile away.
That's true.
And then you've got, Ed, that was, he was the demonologist. So they definitely seen things. So
that's
I'm
incredible.
still trying to wait for something to toss Nate in the air.
Yeah, every time we go to a location, that's Tom saying, he goes, "Are you here? If so, toss Nate in the air."
You know what?
One day this is going to happen.
I wouldn't say that, because there's cases, and I will tell you what, if you ever have a chance to talk to Joe Frankie or have Joe on your podcast, he will tell you about him being picked up and thrown against walls.
Damn.
And this is this was, like picked up and thrown, chairs picked up. And the stories he's told me, I'm like, and he is not a liar. I will stand up and testify for this guy, 100-fold. So when he tells me he's been picked up and whipped across, I believe it.
A lot of us, you see that kind of thing in like the movies and stuff. And you don't ever see it in real life, but it can happen. Like it's a thing. They wouldn't make that up for no reason, Well,
that's just it. They're not, and some of these old timers have health issues because of some of the stuff they dealt with. These are not just people, and it's not like belittling anybody that does it now, but these aren't people that were just going into, some jail. Going, oh, this is fun, I want to go see it. They were going into some really, we're not talking about, The Conjuring or something. We're talking about some stuff that were really hardcore cases. So that people weren't messing around. Neither was spirit. So
I could not even imagine some of the things that they have had to deal with. I don't scare easy, and I'm not a runner. But if something got picked up and thrown across the room, that might be the time I'm like, you know what? Every man for himself.
Yeah.
Just take off running.
I would second guess my whole life at that point.
Yeah, if it actually happened, I'd be out of there.
Yeah.
It's all fun and games until it actually happens.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, don't tell them to throw Nate anymore. They might.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Or they're going to pick up you and throw you at Nate.
And if that's the
that would make
case,
for a great episode, though.
It'd be a great episode. There we go.
Well,
It would no longer be poor Shane, it'd be poor Thomas.
And I'd probably never return ever again. But
and he quit.
And we're laughing, but we're going. We have a location this weekend that we're going to that is known to be, I don't want to say sketchy because that's a bad word, but just unknown. Nobody really, it's blowing people's minds. No one's really knowing. Is that Daisy?
That's Daisy.
Right?
You hear her? I'm going to yell at her.
You actually have me nervous about this place now.
Well, if anything happens, I'll call DeEtte and she'll help us.
There you go. Just call. I will be at in Waseca but I'll see if, just look at what time I'm doing the seance and don't call that time and we're good.
Yeah, we won't call it that time.
Because I'm not answering the phone. I'm in trance. So it's not that I don't want to help you. I'm just not going to be in trance and try to help you and take your people in.
I would just text you and be like, call us when you're done. We might have an issue.
We might have an issue.
Uh-oh.
We might have an issue. But
So I had a question. You were talking about the classes, and you kind of said, well, what happened?
Sorry, my finger hit the button.
So even if somebody doesn't think they have abilities, you still take the class, you think? And
oh, darling, I had one lady, I'm not going to say her name because she's listening. She knows who she is. God bless her. She's amazing. And she went all the way through certification. And I'm not even kidding you. Even in certification, which is 3 intense days and then a half a day and then testing for half a day. She got frustrated. She goes, you just want my money. And I'm like, number one, I don't charge enough to get rich. So your money really doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Because I'm really on the cheap end. And I laughed at her and I'm like, darling, you got it. Just go do your thing, and I had her being tested. And literally that night when we got done, she's the only person through certification that I literally certified it immediately afterwards and shared the results with her because she was blown away by how much she got right. She was like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, you've been that amazing. But you're like me. You just need somebody to test you and say, you got this. You are this person. So, yeah, because everybody's got it. Everybody's psychic. I mean, there's nobody that's not psychic. There's nobody that's not a medium. That whole lineage of, oh, my God, everybody's psychic and everybody's a medium. BS. Everybody talks to their dead grandma.
Yeah.
And that's what a medium is. If you look up the Webster Dictionary, it's, those people that can converse with the other side. So,
well, and it's crazy because, like with that woman that you were just talking about, I know when I was taking your course, there were things that you were like, it doesn't matter what it is, write it down and we're going to talk about it. And I would write down like the craziest things, and I won't give too much about like pictures or anything, but I mean, like it would be a blue blanket. A name. I remember a specific where I'm like, this makes no sense, but I wrote it down. And when I told you, you were like, this makes sense to me. And I remember you kept saying, it's not going to make sense to you. And that's okay. And that's something that I had to keep telling myself is, even though it doesn't make sense to me, it makes sense to you and the thing or person we were talking about. And that's what I try to do now with the guys is, whether it makes sense or not, write it down because it might make sense somewhere.
Exactly. Because when you're the medium, it's none of your business. I hate to say that. And that's where your ego has to get out because it is none of your business. You're just a mouthpiece. So for everybody out there going, oh my God, I want to be a medium. You're just a puppet, and that's what I tell people. I'm a puppet. I'm a mouthpiece. They move my arms. They change my temperature. They make me hurt. They put me through all this stuff because I say they can. But I'm their puppet. I'm their voice piece. And what they have to say is none of my business. So therefore, I don't even get to remember it when it's done. It's just, and here you go. So unless it's something really amazing, oh my God, no, it usually is gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
And that's crazy because there's times where we'll try to go back, like do an Estes or something. We'll try to go back and we'll tell each other what we said and we don't remember it. Or we like to, probably not the smartest idea, but we like to sleep in the locations that we investigate.
Why not?
No. Tom does not like to sleep in the locations that we investigate. Y'all just make me.
That's true. Me and I don't mind sleeping in the locations. Tom hates it. But it's like there's times that things will happen and Tom will tell us in the morning and we're like, we had no idea. Like, we don't remember saying that. We don't remember talking about this. And it's
Tom remembers it all because he has no abilities.
Tom has all the abilities. He just doesn't realize it.
I gave them up a long time ago.
Yeah. I love it.
So if somebody was interested, I am running the website at the bottom because you can find the classes there. And another thing that you do that I'm always intrigued with, because I cannot figure it out for the life of me, but you do tarot as well.
I do a little bit of it, yeah.
Yeah, and you say a little.
It's how I started. It's how I started. Do I actively do it now? Not a lot for other people, because you got second generations out there that can just whip them cards everywhere. It's an art form. It really is an art form. It is. I've got one student. Well, she's no longer a student. She's certified. Her name's Tara. And I will tell you what, that woman can pick up any deck, and it's just so much into it. And I look at her and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? Like, it's insane. But I do a little bit because that's where I started at. So.
Yeah, and I remember watching it on the show back when it was back on WLTKDB or BD, and I remember watching.
Oh my God, you remember all those initials? I love that.
I thought I messed it up at first. I'm like, wait a minute.
WLTKDB.
Yeah, and I remember watching it and just being like amazed at how like different decks, and the decks would tell you which ones you should use, and I thought that was really cool too. So that's another thing that people, there's so many different ways to expand your abilities. You don't have to just sit and write. Automatic writing was fun though. I really enjoyed that part of the course.
Yep, I love it. It's awesome.
You still I was doing a little digging on the thing. You still do a show every Monday, correct?
I do. It's obviously not on WLTKDB anymore. And it's changed. And if anybody's seen the last show there, it's still in. You can still see all my old shows through with Todd, because the new network bought all my old shows and put it all 200 and some on there. But I cried like a baby the last day. Like, I could not keep it together. And Todd's messaging me like, "Oh my God, it's okay. It's okay. I'm like, I can't do this," And I used to interview people. So on that show, it was a 2-hour process. I would do like an inspirational talk, interview somebody for an hour, and then come back with what I call my 5-card stud. And back then I would use a lot of the same decks. And since the Edge Network has picked me up and brought me over to their neck of the, as a matter of fact, Kelly Wagner, the owner of the Edge magazine, actually created this network so I would have a place to go. And I went, okay, it's not going to be this. I can't do what I had, the last time around. I don't want to do what I did the last time around. So now I get in and I still do an inspirational talk for about a half an hour. I love using my Neil Donald Walsh book because I just love the guy that created Conversations with God. I mean, it's great inspiration just to help people in their day-to-day life. You know what I mean? It's kind of like taking common sense and making sense of common sense, And then after that, I started with the 5-card stud, but now I use a different deck every single week. So I literally, like, next week's deck is the Chinese 5 Elements Oracle. See how it's still closed? I open it like, okay, I don't know what's in here. Do you know what's in here? You know what I mean? And we open that and I shuffle them and I do a 5-card reading still with it. But it's to highlight the decks and kind of bring people awareness that, you can take a magazine and open it up and do a reading off of magazine pictures. You can use anything around you. But oracle cards are really cool because a lot of times people have these oracle cards. When we go to buy them, we don't get to see them. You don't know how they work. And I know about y'all, I wasted a lot of money buying decks that literally I didn't resonate with 5 seconds after I bought them. So now I continue to do that Monday mornings. But it's to highlight other publishers now and other, other creators. And then I do, they take that and they put it into the magazine every 2 months. So yeah, I do continue with the show. It's not nearly as big as it was the last time. Last time around, I had 143,000 downloads before we ended. And this time I think we're up to 638. So
that's still incredible.
How can people watch the show? Is there like a website?
Well, I believe it goes to my website. You'd have to ask Todd. He's still my web guy. I think he said he had to go into the website. We do live stream it every Monday morning. So it is live streamed on like my Facebook, which is Bear. And then also goes on to the Edge Network or the Edge Magazine website. And it goes into my YouTube, which I believe is DeEtte or DeEtte Ranae. DeEtte 72 maybe. It's DeEtte. There's not many DeEttes out there. Just Google DeEtte.
That's
So
true.
it does go onto my YouTube, and then after that, it goes into a podcast. So it goes onto Podbean for them and out there into the world.
That's so
One of the things that you mentioned with like the different decks and stuff, you said you didn't resonate with certain ones. So I've never really done the tarot stuff, but I've always heard that being a thing, like you've got to find the deck that's for you. How do you go about like, you just start looking?
Well, some people, number one, there's a difference between tarot and oracle. Okay. And that's the first thing, because everybody goes, which way do I go? Tarot is a very, I don't want to say scientific, but there's a method to the madness with tarot, and it's got a lot of layers to it. Okay. It's almost like a science. So if you're really a person who wants to get into that and really learn the science and really study a lot, tarot is really the way to go. Okay. Oracle cards, on the other hand, I don't want to say like a dime a dozen, but there's hundreds of them out there, So number one, kind of go, what are you into? Are you more into the paranormal? Are you into fairies? Are you into witches? Are you into little gnomes? I mean, where are you at? What's your thing? And then literally go Google that and oracle, and you're going to get hundreds probably of that. And then, research the deck as much as you can. Look at the author. What type of an author are they? Because every author is going to make a different type of a deck, and that can really help. Some stores, metaphysical stores will have like demo decks once in a while, to where whatever they have on the shelf, they have over here, so you can open them up and play with them a little bit. So yeah, there really is. There's a science. I'm not going to say there's a science behind it, but if it doesn't feel right, just don't buy it. If it doesn't feel right, don't buy it.
And I have heard too, for some people, and this is I always call it tarot. I always forget the tarot and the oracle, but I've heard too that there are some people who do read cards, and when they buy them, before they open them, they kind of carry them around for a little bit, so that the energies kind of combine, and the cards get to know them, they get to know the cards. And they said that sometimes they feel like that works, kind of bonding with your equipment almost.
Yeah, that's another thing where I must have hit menopause in my 20s, because I couldn't do it, even though they said I should. They're like, buy your deck, hold your deck, carry it with you. And then literally open your deck and look at each card individually for like 10 minutes. There's like 72 cards.
That's a lot.
I was a young mom.
So, nobody has time for that.
I pick it up and go. If I can't pick up and go, and a lot of times I throw the book. Like, I don't even want the book. Throw the book away. If I can't look at a pretty picture and figure it out, I don't want the deck.
Yeah, that's awesome, because I know, like, I've done that with like my dowsing rods, but I had someone buy me a deck, and I opened it and I looked through it, but I just don't understand. And it was a full tarot, so it was a lot of cards, a lot of pictures, very similar, and I couldn't. I'm not a reader in that sense.
For me, I love tarot. I love tarot. I love the oracles. Do I use them in my readings? I don't. I use them if I do a podcast. I use them if I do like Facebook Live. You'll never see them in a reading. If somebody hires me for reading, you'll never see a deck with me, because I don't need that. And it actually, for myself, for me, I feel like it stops my abilities a little bit, because I want to stay within the card and not get everything else that I'm getting. So for me, I'd rather use my natural abilities and just go for it.
That's awesome.
And that makes sense, because that's what works for you. It doesn't. It might be something that works different for somebody else. They're better with the cards and stuff like that.
110%. 110. And there's so many tools for divination out there. So many. You got oracle, tarot, pendulums, dowsing rods, automatic writing, photometry. The list really is endless as to what it is your niche is going to be. So it's ruins. I mean, you can play, have fun, figure out what you are attracted to, and then go with it.
Is that for somebody who they feel like they might have abilities, but somebody who does kind of want to figure out their niche and where they should go, would that be your recommendation? Is just kind of dabble in a little bit to see what really hits home.
That's what I did. You know, it was so cool because even though I didn't learn about my natural abilities until I was in my 40s, my early 40s, literally in my beginning years, my like 18, 19 is when I bought the Ouija board. That's when I bought my pendulums. That's when I bought my dowsing rods. I made a rod where it's like just like one steel pole out with a fishing anchor at the end, you know, with a fishing weight in it. It used like a pendulum. Tarot cards, oracle cards, runes. I did it all. I was constantly playing with something. You know, I can remember doing, you know, tarot readings for my grandma who was in her 80s and her looking at me like, okay, I love you. So I'm going to sit here, you know. I got into numerology for a while, you know, it's out there. I did it, you know, because to me, I was so interested. Again, I can remember going, you know, playing with all this stuff. But I was a psychic drummer. I wasn't psychic. I could do all this, but I wasn't psychic. And I remember going to get a reading by what was a friend of mine. And, you know, I was that person that, you know, if there was a store, you know, a $10 reading, I was there. You know, I went all, I mean, I was searching for answers that I was never going to find, you know. And I can remember putting $20 on the table and him sliding it back to me. I'm going, I need to pay you. And he's like, I've got nothing for you. And I went, what are you doing? He goes, you know it all already. And I went, I don't know anything. I slipped the money back and he slipped it back to me. He goes, DeEtte, you're a better reader than I am. And I went, oh, hell if I am. Like, you got this big name. He's like, DeEtte, I'm hearing you're better than me. And I'm going, you're crazy. And now I know, you're full of shit, you know? And years later now, he's looking at me going, and I'm going, wow, I you know, because I didn't know. I just didn't know.
See, and I love that because that's when I'm going to make it sound really bad, and I don't mean it the way it's going to come across, but like mediums are a dime a dozen nowadays.
They are.
You know, and some are very competitive. And if you have abilities or you have abilities that are stronger than them, they don't want to help you. And because you're seen as a threat. But then you also have some that they just state the typical, you're going through something. Well, everybody's going through something, you know, and that's why I was really excited when I met you and got to work with you, because you do have these incredible abilities and you can do all this stuff, but like you are also helping other people, you know, and that's kind of cool because you being a beginner, having someone who's been through that can give that advice of like, hey, you're wasting your time, or hey, get out of your head. It's easier than trying to do it by yourself, which unfortunately it sounded like you had to.
Well, you know, I think you know, in the end, I didn't have to do it by myself. I ended up having great mentors, you know, that helped me along the path. But that's one of the reasons why I teach is because mediums are becoming a dime a dozen. And I don't know if it's because of COVID or what happened. And again, like I said, it's not everybody's a medium. So I'm not going to slam anybody and say, oh my God, you suck or this or that. You know what I mean? But I do think, and I'm a firm believer, are we all naturally born? Yes, we are. You know, the reason why I like people to go to classes, whether it's me or somebody else, is because there's ways to get deeper information, bigger information, more detailed information, you know, to give somebody, you know, not generalized fluff. You know what I mean? And I will tell you, I demanded of my students, you know, intermediate, you know, I'm looking at you going, okay, give me what you got, you know what I mean? Because I need you to start having trust in yourself. When we're starting getting into advanced, no, I'm not taking the BS anymore. You know, I mean, now we're pushing you. Now we're going for that. I want that more information for you. I want those details. I want you to bring that information for yourself, you know, because, you know, quite frankly, if I got your grandma, I want you to feel like grandma's next to you. You know, I don't want to stand as a little lady in a wheelchair with very curly hair, you know, that's drooling down the side of her face, you know, that can make any grandma in a nursing home, you know, it's the details. And I want you to see that she's been there in your life, you know, even after she's passed away, and giving those details about your life, you know, that are happening right now. And grandma's the one telling me, or grandma's giving advice that you didn't want from grandma when she was alive, but still giving it to you, you know, and classes is what does that. That's really, you know, that's where you can push yourself.
Well, and I, even before the show started, when we were behind, like in the green room, I guess, I even showed like, because when you provide like the coursework, I still refer back to it sometimes. I'm like, okay, what am I doing wrong? Why isn't this working? And I pull those out and I read through them and I'm like, oh, that's right. So I know it's like, you know, it's not like a course that you just take for a couple weeks and then you forget. It's stuff that you can continuously refer back to.
Yeah, and it stays with you. You know, you can't it's kind of like you can't unsee it. You can't undo it, which I love.
Well,
I truly love that.
It's kind of like once you crack that door open, even if you try to shut it, it never truly shuts. Because there are times where, again, like, I don't want to give too much away because I want people to take the classes, but there'll be certain things that you said or you told me to do or things to practice that will pop in my head. And I'm like, oh my God, I should do that today. Or, oh, maybe I should do that. And it's just funny because it's like, once that door was open, it's never truly closed again, which is really exciting.
And that's 110%, you know, and it's like, and you can say whatever, you know, whatever you want, feel free, because again, you know, like I tell people at the very beginning, beginners, this is a wheel. You cannot reinvent them. I am teaching the same stuff that everybody else is teaching. Okay. It's because, you know, these courses are a wheel. You know, some wheels are more like bicycle tires. Some are more like car tires. Some have, you know, spokes. Some don't. Some are decorated. You know, some have mags. You know, whatever it is, but it's still a wheel. It's still going to have the same properties. It's still going to go round. How you present that information and how you connect with somebody really is how they are going to take it from you. Does that make sense? Because like anything I teach, you can go and get off a book in literally a library. I mean, I've told people, go get the book. You know, if you need more than that, I'm here. Or find somebody that resonates with you. But really, it's that person that's gonna like hold your hand. You know, I've had a very extraordinary life, and I will tell you what, every one of my students I have, I can go, yep, been there, done that, been there, done that, because a lot of what they are, I resonate, or they resonate with me. You know, they see something in me that feels very comfortable to them, and it's because we share something, you know, share part of a life together, share something in my life that you're doing the same thing. So, and that's where you really kind of go, okay, here's more, you know, so, and then just make exercises to help somebody figure it out.
So if people are interested in taking your courses, they are on the website that's running
They're on the
at the bottom.
Yeah.
And there's different levels. So if they're debating on which maybe level they should sign up for, because I know that was something that I was like, I don't know
we
where I
started you at intermediate, didn't we?
Yeah.
We started you right there, and you were like,
I think we did intermediate, and it was like 2 courses in. You're like, yeah, no, I'm rewriting something for you, and then you like jumped ahead, which was really cool because it was custom. But if they're looking through the classes and they're not 100% sure how to make that decision, like,
get a hold of me. Get a hold of me. Not everybody has to start a beginner. The beginners are really the people that are going, I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. I'm struggling, blah, blah, blah. And it really is just straightening out the tickle tummies, you know, straightening out and giving you a sense of having that bubble to work in, that safety security net, you know. Some people are already doing it. Let's throw you into, you know, intermediate, and just to help you with some lingo, I'll throw some extra classes at you. Why? Because not that I'm charging more. A lot of times I don't. And then sometimes I do, you know, depending on how much I'm handing back over. But sometimes it's just lingo that they have to learn and nothing more than that. I have people that get a hold of me. They're like, I'm actively doing this. Where can I start? Well, you can start advanced, you know, or I also have the option where, because people go, mentorship, what's mentorship? And they'll see it's you know, it's a couple $100 more than my advanced. And that's literally what I'm sitting down and I'm writing something specific for you to help you in something you want to do. So, and that's really just narrated, but get a hold of me. That's the biggest thing. Just get a hold of me. And at the end of the conversation, don't feel like you have to sit with me, because maybe that conversation is going, do I vibe with you? Are you my teacher? And if I'm not, it's okay. It's okay to say, not today, woman, you know, that's fine. Because if we're not vibing, I can't help you.
Yeah.
You know, but maybe I'm the person having the conversation that's going to help you find that person, because it's your first conversation.
Well, and that's so true because there are so many different courses out there and so many different people. And I was researching left and right about, okay, what courses should I take? Who should I take them with? And then like when we talked, I was like, this is it. Like this is where you have to find the right person or it's just not going to work for you.
I've sent people, is it to Demi? It's an online, where you can get cheap courses on everything. I mean, gosh, everything from pluck your toenails to mediumship, for like $5, whatever it is. You can certify it in everything on this. And Udemy, what it is. And I've sent people there. They're like, I just don't know. I'm like, hey, go to Udemy, search something up, spend $5. Take their 6-week online course that you're doing at your own pace. If it's something you feel is right, then come back to me. If you're not ready to spend the $225 for the beginners, go spend $5. See if this is what you want. There's so many different places to get the education, Yeah. So as much as I love people and I want to teach people, I never try to force me down people's throats. It almost is just like I tend to talk people out of me versus with me. And it's just I want the right fit. If it's the right fit, you're going to get so much out of it.
It kind of sounds like, people when they go to college and stuff like that, they always take college trips. They're going to find what school that's right for them. So that's kind of the same kind of thing.
And I agree with it because you know what? Even my mentors, I've had 2 mentors, and you know what? We vibed until we didn't vibe. And when we stopped vibing, it's like, I'm not supposed to be with you. You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean that I don't love them any less. It just means that's not where I'm supposed to be anymore.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and we spend a lot of time on that, but I know that there's a lot of events that you're doing and all these things you're going to and all these incredible people that you're working with. So what's some of the stuff you kind of have going on?
I am so fortunate. Oh my gosh, this weekend, you can still buy tickets for it, I think. Pretty sure we might have a few left. Sorry, my friend and yours, me and Mr. Neil Gibbons, who you see in the very beginning, guy with beard, talking about the spirit box. Neil and I and Chef Valentino are going into. We're doing what's called the seance. We're going to Waseca, Illinois, at the Roth House with. I love that place. It's so sweet. It's awesome. I love this place. It's called the Waseca Wonder because it's the first documented event in history in spiritualism of the first possession. So it's super cool, but it's a pre-healing possession, not a negative demonic possession. Just so it's on the good side. So we're going there and we're doing it's an event called the Seance. I think it starts at like 5:30 until Saturday until like 3:00 in the morning. Chef Valentino is making food and desserts. I'm doing an hour or hour and a half. I don't know. I'm going to go into trance and they'll wake me up when it's done.
I like how you say that. I'll wake up sometime.
I'll just wake up when it's done. Where I'll go into trance and bring through messages, whether it's their loved ones or if it's the ladies or the gentlemen of the house. And then they, Neil's doing a workshop and then they do some investigations and then they come back to me and then I'm doing a general gallery later on at night. So they're getting a seance and they're getting a gallery. And then they go back to investigating again until 3. I will not be there with them until 3 a.m. No, I will be sleeping.
I don't blame you.
I will be doing a trance in a gallery that night. So that's this Saturday, which is super awesome. And then where the heck am I at? Give me a second. I think the next major thing, I do have some events that I do throughout Wisconsin and Minnesota with Soul and Synergy. But then you can find me in Maine, over in Maine at the Augusta Civic Center for the Maine Paranormal and Horror Convention. Super excited about that one. That one's September 6th and 7th. So I can't even tell you. That one's going to be a lot of fun. They've already, John Zaffis, I can't wait to see Johnny again. I love Johnny. So by the way, he is related to the Warrens, in case nobody knew that.
And then, I just found that out too.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that until this past weekend.
Yes, he's the nephew.
Yeah, I had no idea.
I love John. I love John. And I miss him. I have not seen him since Michigan Paracon last year. And then the next big one I have after that is October 9th through the 12th. I'm with Dave Schrader and Dalen Spratt up at the Palmer House, where we're doing an investigation. It's haunted. It's Halloween haunted hijinks, where we are starting the weekend with a costume party, and then we have workshops and investigations and a gallery and just so much stuff. And I leave there on the 11th that night. They will continue investigating after I leave and workshops after I leave. But I have to get back to Waseca, Illinois on October 12th, because the Seance, the documentary that we did last year, is here. It's screening for the first time in Waseca, Illinois on the October 12th. So I'm super excited about that. Have no clue where that's going to land when they're done with it. But Larry Eisler III did all the shooting, all the camera work for that. Neil was the mastermind behind it. I just showed up and did my thing. I will tell you, I showed up, I did my thing. We talked to the dead people of the house. God bless, because they were amazing. Multiple, everybody kind of goes in there for the Dorothy Lorancy thing, and we got many layers, which was super awesome. And then we did the trance seance with 150 people around the circle. So it was pretty awesome.
That's great.
That's incredible. And Larry was also in the beginning. Larry, he's awesome. And he always tells me about how he kidnaps you. And I'm like, I need to go kidnap her sometime. Because
I love that. Oh my God. That is the best thing ever, to be kidnapped.
I know. I was trying to kidnap you in October, but you're already busy.
I know. I'm so sorry. It's literally, Larry calls it absconding, because, Facebook doesn't like kidnapping. But he literally just calls me up and says, hey, what are you doing on this date? Nothing. Okay. I'm going to pick you up at such and such a time, and I will have you home about such and such a time. Okay. Do I need to dress warm or cold? What are we doing? And I have no clue where we're going, what direction we're going. Nothing. I know absolutely nothing. And then he just sits there the whole time, because he's just, he gets me close, and I start going, and he's got this great resting bitch face, and he just, he just keeps his mouth shut, and he's just got these eyes, and they stay open the whole time, And then after the fact, he tells me, going, oh my God, you don't even know how right you were. Like, it's like boom, 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 So it's a lot of fun, and you just never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's cool. And I keep telling the guys, like, we need to get out your way, because we've never officially met in person. It's always been internet and virtual, and I want to get you investigate. You don't have to investigate, but at least come hang out with us.
I'll invest. I have no problem going into places. Trust me, I have absolutely no problem. It's just, I'm not the person that wants to show up with 4 o'clock and everything be there for me.
Smart second.
You know what I mean? I'm just not that person. And God bless you guys for, wanting to sit there in the quiet, but I won't be on my phone then or sleeping, But even with that, I will tell you, you got time for a story?
Absolutely.
This one I laughed my ass off about. Y'all know Dan Kloss, right?
Mm-hmm.
I love Dan.
I love Dan too.
I love Dan. And I'll never forget it, because I was with him and Rob Thompson and the whole crew with the Ghost Finders. And it was my first, not my first time on the Ghost Finders, because I did one on Zoom, where I get a call of DeEtte. And I'm like, okay, give me an hour. I got to get home, and I get on Zoom, and next thing I see the camera as I'm going, oh, are you really recording all this? You know what I mean? Anyway, and it made an episode, but I showed up. We were in Heinrichs is where we showed up. And that's the first time I got to work with Dan, And it was really cool. We're doing this thing, and Dan doesn't know me. I don't know him. Rob is really the only one in the cast I know. Other than that, I'm like, I'm meeting everybody. And it came time for mine and Dan. I think it was Melanie's. It was one of the two ladies, the witch. I can't think of her name. Anyway, it was our time to go investigate together, And Dan's looking at her going, pick a box, any box. And I'm looking at this going, horse shit. Like, I'm off now. You know what I mean? Because don't tell me that box is going to do it. That's just a bunch of people going, you know what I mean? The noise. That's all it is. And people are making up the words in their head. You know, that is my thought process on this. So literally, while she's picking out a box in my head, I go, unless I hear my name clear as bells come through that box, I'm just going to call BS on that, right? Because most people are alive cannot pronounce my name, let alone a dead person through this box, right?
Mhm.
So we go over. We're in our little part. So let's try the box, you know, because it's all for television, which is super awesome. And they start talking to it. And I'm standing there looking dumb because I don't know what to do. I'm clueless. Like, do I ask the box questions? What do I do? It's a box, you know? And I didn't know where my name comes through clear as a bell and loud. And I went, whoa, now they have no clue that what has gone through my head. So now this box has got my attention. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And whatnot. And it's starting to say something. And then all of a sudden it was like, you know, she goes to this, one of the security guys goes, you know what? I think it's talking to you. So he comes up, you know, he comes on the screen. And you can see this all in the episode. And, you know, they talk to the box and him. And again, I'm over here, like, whatever, it's still a box. It said my name. I'm pretty impressed, you know. And then we're looking at, and I looked at him and I said, your mom or grandma, whoever was about this tall and this. And all of a sudden I go, I just do my thing. You know what I mean? I just start going off. And here's Dan. Looking at me. I think I've done something wrong. You know what I mean? I think I have screwed up because this is not on the roster. This reading is not supposed to be there. I just did whatever. And we walk away and nobody says anything to me. And we get back in and we're trying to warm up because it's cold. He goes, and here I know where Miss Teresa Caputo over here. Just well, it was more like she just plays a Caputo and just goes off like, holy cow, you know. But I think I gained his respect that night because it wasn't a bad thing. It was a good thing. But I always laugh because I don't talk about the reading. I talk about the ghost box. I'm like, this is one in my head. And he's like, yeah, it said your name. You know what I mean? And it turned out I'd been talking about me throughout the whole episode. But, well, it kept talking. No, we're still not happy with the box because it said my name in the end. But during it kept saying the old one, the old one, the old one. I'm like, really?
I'm like, listen, buddy.
Really? I was the old. I mean, Rob outweighs me, you know, outdoes me by a couple of years. But it turned out the old one that wanted. I'm like, I haven't hit menopause yet. Not quite. So,
well, you know, that's really cool because, you know, one of the things is like when you do communicate, you can communicate in your head. It doesn't have to be out loud, and they can still hear you. And that's something I learned from you too. But like, I'm a talker, so I will find myself in the car by myself having a 2-hour conversation, and I'm like, who did I just talk to?
And there's got to be something to it because, like, you know, when I told you Larry called me not that long ago about one facility, you know, one place, went through that whole thing. And all he said was towards the end, I literally went, okay, y'all are going someplace next weekend. And I didn't know this. And I'm like, but you need to clear you before you cannot go into this next investigation off of this. You've got to do a lot. Okay, but they did it. Larry gets all, I get a message from Larry from like 1 o'clock in the morning going, were you checking in us? You know, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, no, what are you talking about? He goes, the box said your name. Not even the same location, not even the same state.
That's awesome.
So no, they just mean they're really creative and they know how to pronounce any others.
They're just excited that they can say it. So.
First. I think that's what it is. They're happy. We can say your name.
I love that. So unfortunately, we're coming to an end. I hate when I see that hour mark, but for anybody who is looking for you or wants to follow you, where can they find you?
Well, my website's the easiest. It's DeEtte.us or DeEtte.us. That's the easiest way to kind of like contact because you can subscribe to my email. You can get a reading from me. You can contact me through, the contact sending me an email. If it's on Facebook, I'm a dog. My name is Bear. It's Bear. Last name Bair. Bear. I kind of like it. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, I'm going to California to see the dog next week, so I'm super excited to see him again. He was nice to lend me his name and whatnot for that. But on every other social media, it's DeEtte or DeEtte Ranae. Just, Google DeEtte. There's not many of us, and it's all me. I will put my hand up, and say it's probably me. So it's easy that way.
Yeah. And if for some reason you do have issues finding her, let me know, because I can point you in the right direction and give you the right contact. So with that, DeEtte, thank you so much for being on. Don't go anywhere, because I want to talk to you behind the scenes. But thank you so much. We love you. And everyone, we hope you have a great night. And stay tuned, because you might hear from us on Saturday from the Doss House.
Maybe.
Or DeEtte might hear from us depending on how the night goes.
They'll hear from me about how Ashley woke me up in the middle of the night.
They did it again.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But until then, everyone have a great night, and we will see you soon. Bye.